I'm not sure my good friend and colleague is simply obsessed with Alaska. He's obsessed with a lot of things. So, I mean, Mr. Pistole, it's good to see you again. And let me, a couple of quick comments. One, I think you've got the absolute right background for this.
Thank you, Senator.
And I enjoyed visiting with you yesterday. And obviously, you've had a history of public service. And to be willing to step into this breach, considering the challenges of this job, and the past challenges of some of the nominees, I'm again grateful for your willingness to step forward.
Thank you, Senator.
And Senator Begich already raised one of the issues that I was going to raise. I too have one of those airports that did the right thing, relied upon TSA assertions that if you go ahead and upgrade next generation security facilities during the middle of a remodeling effort, that makes good business sense. And then when they came to get reimbursed, those dollars haven't been there. So I look forward to hearing the same kind of response as well. And this is probably one of those ecumenical issues. I imagine I got colleagues on the other side of the aisle who've got this same issue. Let me also reassert what I think the chairman has mentioned, and I think all our colleagues believe, is that your number one job is to make sure that your TSA employees ensure the safety of the homeland, the safety of our traveling public, both domestic and foreign. And clearly, my conversations with you and reviewing your background, you've got that expertise.
Thank you, Senator.
But I do believe there's another piece to this, and we raised this yesterday. I want to just take another moment on it. And that is, you'll have close to 50,000 employees. And in many ways, this is these employees are the first impression that visitors coming to our country interact with. It's also a required intersection with all of the domestic traveling public. And I don't think, again, I'm going to be alone in this issue, but I constantly hear complaints about mistreatment of the traveling public by TSA officers. I recently received a letter from a constituent who described an incident of waiting literally 40 minutes in a screening line at Dulles. And he described the TSA officers as surly and inappropriate. He said they had no consideration of folks waiting in line. And again, as we discussed, I think most Americans realize that in the privilege of flying will require the privilege and the requirement of additional screening in a post-9/11 world. But that requirement can be done in a manner that doesn't have to be surly. I think one of the challenges you're going to have in this requirement is making sure that customer service, not to be trumped by security. Security always has to trump, but customer service has to be a component of your TSA officers. And what I think added insult to injury, and again, probably most of my colleagues have flown out of Dulles recently. We've spent literally tens of millions of dollars on a new security mezzanine. And it's more than a bit frustrating for the traveling public to get carted and shuttled down to this new security mezzanine with lots and lots of gates and see then those gates woefully understaffed. And this is repeated comments, sometimes staffed by folks who are surly, as the surly and inappropriate behavior, the comments of my constituent. And these folks have got a job to do, but they can do it in a way that I think both doesn't mitigate their security concerns, actually would enhance the security concerns if they feel cooperation from the traveling public, as well as the role of this first impression that comes about with many of our foreign travelers. So what steps would you take to ensure appropriate staffing, to ensure that as you build up this esprit de corps at the TSA, you've got a new agency with a lot of burdens that customer service is part of that.
Sure.
Civil servants ought to act in a civil manner.
Right.
And what kind of metrics could we, as the Oversight Committee, look to you as you get into this role to make sure that we're seeing that kind of progress, both in terms of staffing, morale, and in the customer service area?
Thank you, Senator. And I would just start off by saying I agree with all of your statements in terms of customer service has to be part and parcel of the security mission, and that oftentimes you can accomplish more through better customer service than the type of conduct that you describe, which if confirmed, my expectation and clear direction would be to focus on those issues. I think everybody recognizes in this room and any of the traveling public that the TSOs have a challenging job. Some would say it's very challenging with limited reward, only recognized if something bad happens, which is not a good metric. So what I want to do, if confirmed, is work with the human resources people of TSA and the department to assess what the current metrics are. I frankly don't know right now. Obviously, throughput is one of those key issues. How many people can get through the screening with their carry-on bags, those things, and what makes sense. And so I, if confirmed, look forward to working with the committee to be informed by perhaps expectations, managing those expectations, and then trying to work, again, through the training and retraining of TSOs and other TSA personnel to make sure that their role in this layered security apparatus that we have in the United States makes sense, that we don't have undue interruptions to the commerce or free flow of business and people and goods while still maintaining that security that you mentioned. So I look forward, again, confirmed working with you in the committee on those issues.
Well, thank you, Mr. Pistole, and I again want to say thank you for being willing to step up. This is going to be, I think, a bit more multidimensional challenge. You bring the security background, I think, in great expertise. But as we discussed yesterday, I think there's going to be a lot of management components of this challenge that I look forward to working with you on. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.